The air, sharp with the chill of an October dawn, bites at your exposed skin. A thin, clinging mist rises from the valley floor, weaving through the sparse trees and obscuring the distant ridges. You stand not as an observer, but as a warrior on the precipice of destiny, your breath pluming white in the fading darkness. Around you, the hushed murmur of tens of thousands of men, a low, guttural hum that vibrates through the very earth beneath your straw sandals. The scent of damp soil, cold iron, and the nervous sweat of anticipation hangs heavy, a primal perfume of impending conflict. You can feel the weight of your katana at your hip, the rough texture of your armor against your shoulders, a silent promise of the violence to come. Somewhere in the gloom, a horse whinnies, a sound quickly muffled by a stern command. The sky above is a canvas of bruised purple and gray, grudgingly yielding to the first faint streaks of orange that promise a new day, but for many, it will be their last. This is the Sekigahara Valley, a place chosen by fate, or perhaps by the cunning of men, to host a confrontation that will either forge a unified Japan or plunge it deeper into the abyss of endless war. The silence stretches, taut and unbearable, broken only by the beating of your own heart. But you know, with a certainty that chills you to the bone, that this fragile peace will shatter with the first light, and the roar of battle will consume all. What terrors will the rising sun reveal? You find yourself transported back to the year 1600, a time when Japan, though outwardly magnificent, was a land fractured and bleeding. The great unifier, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, had passed from this world just 2 years prior, leaving behind a young heir and a power vacuum that threatened to ignite the embers of civil war once more. For decades, the nation had known only the brutal dance of the Sengoku Jidai, the age of warring states, a relentless cycle of betrayal and ambition. Now, two formidable forces stood poised to claim the mantle of supremacy. To the east, the shrewd, patient, and utterly relentless Tokugawa Ieyasu, a daimyo whose strategic brilliance was matched only by his iron will. He commanded a vast coalition, known as the Eastern Army, comprised of loyal vassals and opportunistic allies, all sensing the shifting tides of power. To the west, standing in defense of the Toyotomi legacy, was Ishida Mitsunari, a brilliant administrator and fiercely loyal retainer, though perhaps lacking Ieyasu's battlefield charisma. He rallied the Western Army, a diverse collection of powerful lords bound by varying degrees of loyalty, obligation, and fear. The stage was set in this narrow, unassuming valley, a geographical choke point that offered both strategic advantage and treacherous vulnerability. It was here, in the heart of Japan, that these two colossal armies, representing divergent visions for the nation's future, would collide. The whispers of discontent, the subtle shifts in allegiance, and the grand designs of rival warlords all converged upon this one fateful point. But how did these two men, Ieyasu and Mitsunari, come to stand on opposing sides of such a monumental conflict? As the first weak rays of morning light pierce the mist, you begin to discern the vastness of the armies arrayed before you. The Eastern Army, under Tokugawa Ieyasu, stretches across the eastern foothills, their banners, the three Aoi crest of the Tokugawa and the myriad symbols of their allies, fluttering bravely. You can almost taste the dust kicked up by thousands of marching feet, even now, before the battle truly begins. On the opposing side, to the west, Ishida Mitsunari's Western Army occupies the slopes of Mount Sasao and the surrounding terrain, their own array of colorful banners proclaiming their allegiance to the Toyotomi. The sheer scale is breathtaking, a human wave poised to crash. You hear the distant, rhythmic thud of war drums, a deep, unsettling pulse that seems to echo in your very bones. The air, once still, now carries the faint, metallic scent of polished armor and the acrid tang of burning fuses from matchlock arquebus being readied. Mitsunari, from his command post, surveys his forces, his gaze sharp, though perhaps tinged with anxiety. He knows the strength of his own numbers, but also the fragility of his alliances. Ieyasu, ever the pragmatist, has positioned his main force to the south, while other divisions, including those under his son Hidetada, are still en route, delayed by other skirmishes. This numerical imbalance at the outset adds another layer of tension to the already volatile situation. The ground beneath your feet feels cold and hard, a stark contrast to the burning intensity building in the hearts of the warriors. All eyes are fixed on the opposing lines, waiting for the signal, for the first act of aggression. But who will strike the first blow, and what hidden betrayals lurk in the wings, waiting for their moment to turn the tide? The battle begins not with a grand charge, but with the crackle and thunder of arquebus. The air instantly fills with the acrid smoke of gunpowder, stinging your eyes and throat, and the metallic whine of musket balls. You watch as volley after volley ripples across the valley, a deadly prelude to the clash of steel. The first lines of samurai, bearing their clan banners high, surge forward, their battle cries echoing across the valley, a primal roar against the din of war. Swords clang against armor, spears thrust and parry, and the earth becomes slick with mud and blood. The fighting is brutal, a chaotic maelstrom of courage and fear. Mitsunari's forces, particularly those under Yukita Hideai, fight with fierce determination, pushing back against Ieyasu's vanguard. Yet, a strange, unsettling quiet hangs over certain sections of the Western Army. On Mount Matsuo, high above the fray, Tokugawa Ieyasu, a young and ambitious daimyo, commands a significant force. His allegiance is ambiguous, his loyalty swayed by both promises and threats from Ieyasu. His inaction is a palpable void, a silent threat to Mitsunari's strategy. You can almost feel the tension radiating from Mitsunari's command post, his desperate pleas for Tokugawa to join the battle going unanswered. The battle rages for hours, a stalemate of attrition. The ground is littered with fallen warriors, their armor glinting dully under the now fully risen sun. The stench of iron and death begins to mingle with the gunpowder smoke. The fate of Japan now rests not just on the strength of arms, but on the wavering loyalties of a single, powerful lord. Will Tokugawa finally commit, and if so, to which side will he turn his mighty force? The moment of truth arrives with a sudden, devastating clarity. From his position on Mount Matsuo, Tokugawa Ieyasu, frustrated by Tokugawa Ieyasu's inaction, orders his own arquebusiers to fire upon the Tokugawa lines. This audacious act, a clear threat, shatters Tokugawa's indecision. You see the movement, a surging wave of warriors descending the mountain, not towards Ieyasu's forces, but directly into the flank of Mitsunari's Western Army. The sound is deafening, a new roar added to the chaos, as Tokugawa's troops, now spurred into action, crash into their former allies. This betrayal, swift and brutal, rips through the Western Army like a tidal wave. Confusion turns to panic, discipline crumbles, and the lines begin to break. Other hesitant Western Army generals, seeing Tokugawa's defection, follow suit, turning their blades against Mitsunari's collapsing forces. The carefully constructed alliances of the Western Army unravel in moments. You witness the rout, a desperate flight as Mitsunari's samurai, once proud and unyielding, are overwhelmed. Ishida Mitsunari himself, his dream of preserving the Toyotomi legacy shattered, is forced to flee the field, his heart heavy with defeat. The battle, which had seemed destined for a prolonged struggle, ends with astonishing speed. By early afternoon, the Eastern Army stands victorious, the Sekigahara Valley a testament to their triumph and the Western Army's demise. The air, once thick with tension, now carries the echoes of victory cries and the mournful wails of the wounded. The sun, now high in the sky, casts long shadows over a field irrevocably changed. But what would this victory truly mean for the future of Japan? You stand amidst the aftermath, the acrid scent of gunpowder and the metallic tang of blood still clinging to the air. The Battle of Sekigahara, fought on that fateful autumn day in 1600, was more than just a clash of armies, it was the crucible in which the future of Japan was forged. Tokugawa Ieyasu's decisive victory cemented his position as the undisputed leader, eliminating his rivals and paving the way for a new era. Just 3 years later, in 1603, he would establish the Tokugawa Shogunate, a military government that would rule Japan for over 2.5 centuries. This was the dawn of the Edo period, an epoch of unprecedented peace, stability, and cultural flourishing, largely free from the constant warfare that had plagued the nation for so long. Ieyasu's strategic genius, his patience, and his unwavering resolve had finally brought an end to the Sengoku Jidai. The samurai, once warriors of constant conflict, would now become administrators and guardians of a unified realm. The echoes of Sekigahara faded, replaced by the sounds of construction in Edo, the new capital, and the quiet rhythm of a nation at peace. But the memory of that day, the choices made, the loyalties tested, and the lives lost, would forever be etched into the very soul of Japan. The path to this lasting peace was paved with the sacrifices made in that mist-shrouded valley. And so, the story of Sekigahara concludes, a testament to the power of ambition, the cost of loyalty, and the relentless march of history. Join us again, as Japan's storyteller continues to unravel the threads of this magnificent land. But until then, reflect on the vast silence that followed the roar of Sekigahara, and the long peace it ushered in. What other untold tales lie hidden in Japan's storied past? Find out in our